Today I'm not going to whine about a comment I received. I don't want these 5-minute videos I'm creating to be me just complaining about comments. In fact, I worry that the lack of comments I get might be because people are afraid that if they do comment, I'll poke fun of them on this channel, which couldn't be farther from the truth. But I'm gonna try not to do that anymore unless I get a really bizarre one. Anyway, one thing I need to say is subscribe. Now, I don't normally ask people to subscribe, and I'm really not doing that to get you to subscribe right now, but I heard there's a new feature on YouTube that if you say the word subscribe, the little icon down below starts to flash, and I'm curious to see if that works. So, the truth is, subscribe if you want. It's really up to you. I don't care. See, the thing is, I'm a strict believer in that you can't ask for praise. It has to come naturally. People have to compliment you because they want to, not because you ask. It's like, let's say somebody gives you a cookie that they baked themselves, and they stare at you the whole time you're eating. Like that. And then you're about almost done, and they go, "You like it, right? It's good. I made a good cookie. You appreciate it. You like it, right?" Now, even if you think the cookie is crap, you're sort of obligated to say, "Yes, it was a good cookie. Thank you for that." It's just not worth it. So this will be the only time doing these videos that I will mention that I would like you to subscribe or comment. From now on, it's up to you. So I've been thinking what to do with these 5-minute videos that I'm going to create every Saturday morning. What should I talk about? What I thought I'd do is make this channel into part that fits in with the rest of it, because usually I'm talking about actors or movies or such, and I thought I'll keep that going. That's what this 5 minutes will be. And there's plenty of movies out there that don't require a whole 30-minute video. They require 5 minutes, so this would be perfect for it. Anyway, for the first one, I thought I'm going to talk about the 1959 movie The Mole People, starring John Agar. And really, all you had to say to me is science fiction, low budget, John Agar, I'm watching it. This film's an odd one. It starts out with this guy, Dr. Frank Baxter, an English professor at the University of Southern California, explaining hollow earth theories. If you're old like me, you will remember Dr. Frank Baxter in a lot of those educational films they would show us in school, like Old Mr. Sun and The Strange Case of the Cosmic Rays. These were short films that Frank starred in with Eddie Albert from Green Acres as a writer. And I think they were all directed by Frank Capra. Now, back in the 1970s, teachers would show us these in the classroom when they needed a break from teaching. Anyway, the film starts out with that, and I think it was a cost-cutting measure. So, this film was made at the time where Universal Pictures had decided to stop spending money on their B pictures. The times of Frankenstein and The Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and This Island Earth were over. The name of the game was to spend as little as possible to make their films. And it all started in 1955 when Columbia released It Came From Beneath the Sea. They spent very little money making that, and it made a ton of money. So Universal Pictures figured, why are we spending money to make these films? Teenagers are stupid. They'll go to the drive-in to see anything we put out. No more spending money making these films. And the first cost-cutting measure they did was to use stock footage. And for this movie, they used footage from a film called The Conquest of Everest from 1953. It was a documentary about Sir Edmund Hillary and his gang's first climb to the top of Mount Everest. The plot of this film is 3 scientists go under the earth to meet a Sumerian race. And because there's no sunlight in the middle of the earth, everybody is an albino, and sunlight kills them. Literally, if they go into sunlight, they burn to death, and they use that as a form of execution, and it's pretty horrific. They also have these mole people slaves that they whip and treat badly. And a fun fact, for a cost-cutting measure, they stuffed the humps on the back of these costumes with newspapers, and during filming, they would often fall out and they'd have to stop and stuff the newspaper back in there and reshoot the scene. Oh, and our heroes, their main weapon is a flashlight, right? Which works really well with these albinos until the batteries run out. Another cost-saving measure was the actors. They were all under contract at Universal, which meant they were already being paid, so it was a no-brainer. Now, John Agar, our star, he might be the king of the B films or in the running. And his career is, well, sort of sad. He was brought to Universal with the likes of Tony Curtis, Rock Hudson, and Jeff Chandler. And those three were all offered these lofty A pictures, and John Agar got the B pictures like Creature from the Black Lagoon and Tarantula. Now, John would be so fed up with this that after The Mole People, he asked to be released from his contract, and Universal went ahead and did that. And then he went on to star in The Daughter of Dr. Jekyll and the Brain from Planet Eros. So in other words, he went from bad to worse. Hugh Beaumont, who in real life was an ordained minister with the Methodist Church, and he played a lot of heavies early in his career, tough guys. And this was about the time where they started casting him in softer, gentler roles, which he really liked. And of course, that would lead to him being the father on Leave It to Beaver. The beautiful Sumerian blonde was played by Cynthia Patrick. Now, she was one of many women who were hired by the studios because of their gorgeous looks, put under contract, and then rarely used, and then eventually were cut loose. And this film was the highlight of Cynthia's career. After this, she appeared on TV a couple of times, then retired to work in real estate. According to director Virgil Vogel, Cynthia refused to be pulled underground like the other actors. And he told her, well, don't worry. We're going to use a stuntman for that. You just need to run to your spot. He was lying. And he told the story later. He said he went up to the stuntman who was going to play the monster and told the stuntman, Al, when she hits that goddamn hole, you grab her legs and pull. So he did it, he laughed. She screamed and yelled as she went down, but it was probably the best acting she did in the picture. The only other actor I'll talk about is the High Priest of the Sumerians, and that was played by Alan Napier. You might know him as Alfred Pennyworth, Bruce Wayne's butler in the 1960s live-action Batman television series. Everybody likes Alan Napier as Alfred, come on. Now I'll talk about one of my favorite bits of trivia for this film. And it's about the end, so this is a spoiler. Now, Hugh Beaumont, John Agar, and Cynthia Patrick at the very end make it to the surface and they walk away happily into the sunset. Well, that's the way it was originally shot, but it wasn't okay with the censors. So a few weeks later, they called the three stars back to refilm the end. Cynthia Patrick later explained, originally I walked off into the sunlight with John and Hugh. They thought people would be frightened if the picture implied there were Sumerians out there breeding children with John Agar. So they reshot the end, but this time there was an earthquake and a column fell, killing Cynthia, so everything was okay, because you weren't allowed to show two different races and imply that they might hook up after the movie. It was just not allowed. It's crazy, I know, but that was Hollywood. So I want to thank you for watching. I enjoy this stuff, and I'm going to pontificate like this every week, whether people like it or not. My head scratch video on Maniac from 1934 will be published tomorrow. I hope you're looking forward to it. And in about 2 weeks, my Rondo Hatton documentary should be ready. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back next Saturday. Bye-bye.